Good morning, guys. It's Chris from DAXtrader.co.uk. and we're going to take a look at the DAX technical analysis for the 4th of December 2014. We're also going to take a look at some of the other pairs which I'm watching at the moment, and sort of a new trading strategy which I'm also looking to use. The signals which automated signal that I'm going to be producing hopefully at the beginning of next week. And I've also got a couple of questions which I needed to answer from a few guys who have got in contact with me. So, just getting started with the DAX, we started off fairly bullish this morning. We've opened up higher, broke the 10,000 level again, just seem to be taking it out relatively frequently at the moment. For such a key psychological level, we don't seem to be keeping above the 10,000. It seems to be acting as an area of quite significant resistance as we've expected. And it's proved to be an area where we could actually short from the 10,000 currently and trade it in a range, which is what I'm currently doing. So I had a trade which was opened yesterday at around about 99.81. I went long, stopped out for breaking the 10,000 level. So I've done the reverse trade now. And I'm looking really to trade down to 99.59 or 99.50s to see what we can do there. Okay, so today in terms of levels, we've got the 99.78 level, which is yesterday's value area high. It's already acted as an area of support this morning, about sort of 15-20 minutes ago or so. If we break that, we're going to get down to around about the VWAP. It's currently beginning to turn up. 99.65 currently, but 99.59 is the target really if we break the VWAP, the value area high from yesterday. If we take out the VPOC from yesterday, we're looking to take the 99.42 level, and we've got a deviation low down here at 99.29 as another area. So there's a few different targets to aim for today. There isn't really enough volume in the profile to suggest any kind of pockets. Yesterday there wasn't really any sort of major pocket apart from this area here, perhaps. Where would that be? Just sort of looking around about maybe 99.65, 99.63 up to 99.70, somewhere in there. There's a few points potentially. Looks like we're starting to show a few bearish signs this morning, but it means absolutely nothing. We've got a fairly heavy event risk day today. If we take a look at the economic calendar, then we have got the European Central Bank decision later on today, and we've also got the press conference as well. Both of those are going to have fairly high potential to move the market. Rate decision as well coming out of the Bank of England. That's going to also be pretty interesting, although personally I'm expecting it to stay the same. Nothing really interesting is going to happen there, apart from if you have a bias one way or the other. I think there's going to be a lot of volatility around about midday, so you can get perhaps a better entry or better price into wherever you want it to go, whether you're short or long on this one. Okay, so as far as the DAX goes, if we're looking at the daily chart, somebody actually mentioned yesterday, I can't remember where I saw it, possibly on Twitter, that the DAX on the daily chart is at the highest RSI that it's been for 10 years. Absolute nonsense. If we're looking at RSI, we're currently at around about 74 on the daily chart. Not particularly long ago we have been at 78, we have been 79, testing the 80 level. So not sure I particularly subscribe to that belief, but what I do believe in is that we are trapped in this kind of range between 9,900 and 10,000. Today could well be the day that we're breaking out of that. I suspect it will be that day, but I'm just not absolutely certain which way it's going to go. If I had to decide one way or the other, I think we're going to break out to the upside. But for now, I'm just going to range trade, and which is exactly what I've done. I'm in this area, which is a sell zone for me, so I've shorted it, and I'm just going to trade it intraday. Maybe get out of it just before lunchtime or 12 o'clock. And see what happens from there. But I'll go long above this line. I'm going to go short below this one, trading it as a breakout. Okay, so these are the weekly levels. I'm not going to look too much at those. But if we look at the intraday levels for today, daily pivot's down at 99.71. Daily R1, 10,014. If we take that out, next reasonable target will be the 10,037 R2, which is very similar to yesterday's high as well. It's unlikely that we're going to take out the daily R2, but if we do, 10,050 has been quite significant. And then above that, you know, we're way up in the nosebleed territories, and might take a little while to get there, but, you know, depending on the catalyst we receive from the ECB meeting today, it's very, very possible. To the downside, the S1 for today, 99.48. We've also got 99.30, which has proved as an area of support in the past. That's brought resistance as well. And the S2 will be down at 99. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the NAX today. I think that I'm just range trading until we get this decision later on. And then the bias, I'm guessing at the moment, is fairly neutral. We've been trapped in this range, so until we get that catalyst, I'm gonna maintain that outlook. So let's take a look at some of the other markets. I mean, the Euro stocks, we've still got the same range that we've been trapped in at the moment, so I'm not looking to trade that. The S&P on the 30-minute chart, still trapped in a range here, and again, not really looking to trade that. The FTSE, threatening to break out to the downside here. I believe I've actually got a short on this one, but we'll continue to watch it. Oil, trapped in a range, not looking to trade this one, although it's been very, very lucrative for me over the last sort of week or so, when we had this pretty intense sell-off to make some fresh lows for certainly. Well, let's take a look. Yeah, certainly for some time, multi-year low, but this candle formation that we're starting to see here is quite interesting. Is this going to be the bottom now? Are we going to start to see a bit of a move back up again? Some of these oil companies are going to start to get a little bit concerned that this, well, for example, fracking is not becoming particularly economical at the moment, and you know, these big oil companies are starting to have their profits hit. So you could suggest that with this very high volume spike here, that this could be the start of a perhaps turnaround here. So we'll keep an eye on that. As I say, trade this range that I've built here. US dollar index is definitely very bullish at the moment. We're starting to get towards the top of the range here, so we might find some sort of correction fairly soon, but we'll wait for something specific to happen to suggest that. Gold, been a lot of movement on gold of late, so you'd imagine there's going to be a period of consolidation now. Arguably, you could say that we're starting to form some sort of wedge pattern here, and there could be a breakout one way or the other, but I'm just going to be looking to trade this range. German Bund, so the German bond market is quite interesting at the moment because on the hourly chart, again, we're starting to see some form of consolidation here or some sort of wedge pattern forming, and I guess overall the trend has been fairly bullish over the last month or so, but we're just starting to experience this area, and I think that if anything this is possibly going to break today. Okay, so if we look at some of the other currency pairs then that I'm watching at the moment, we've got a breakout that we've received here, and I'm going to be looking to trade this setup a little bit more often now, this early morning breakout. The guys that I use, FXCM, for my account, they teach this in their seminars and webinars. So it's a good formation, and it's just simply a case of drawing a box around price action overnight and trade the breakout. Doesn't always work, but it tends to provide some fairly decent setups. So we'll take a look and see what we've got here then. So on the euro dollar, the box has been drawn. I mean, this pair is heavily bearish, so taking a long position on this is quite risky, but in a sort of a shorter term scalping type trade, I think it's absolutely fine. But I do have a few sell orders on this one, slightly higher up the price range. I think today could actually provide a spike up before then continuing its resumption of its downtrend. Dollar yen, still heavily bullish on this pair, but we're trapped in a range at the moment, so we'll wait to see for a breakout. The 120 is a psychological level. It's going to be difficult to break it, but you know, Friday NFP can certainly provide the catalyst we need for that one. Okay, I went short on, sorry, I went long, should I say, on the pound dollar. Got out early because it just looked like it was just going to continue to the downside here, so I just cut my losses on that one, and I might look to trade short if we break to the downside here. Aussie dollar, I hate this pair, but it's certainly looking like it wants to sell. We have had this area here where we sold off yesterday, corrected, sold off, corrected, sold off, corrected, and it just looked like this was following a similar sort of pattern, so I shorted it. Dollar CAD, I went long on this pair just simply because of this candle, suggesting that it might be some sort of pin, but it's not particularly clean pin bar at all. But we've had this sell-off, bit of consolidation, mini breakout or fake out, should I say. It looks like it was starting to turn, so I traded that. The Kiwi dollar, again, we've got a range here. We look like we're in a fairly heavy downtrend here already, but I think I've got a signal on one of my indicators on the MetaTrader platform that suggested a trade opportunity, which I took. Dollar Swiss, still trapped in the range, no trade on this one. Although I've got an order down here to go long. The Euro Pound, mini sort of break out of the box, caught it a little bit late, so I probably missed this one, but we'll see whether it continues and see whether this this strategy has any legs. Euro Yen, exactly the same thing, broke out, and we've traded that one. Pound Yen's quite interesting because we're trapped in this sort of range after this heavy move up, so you'd imagine if anything there could be a correction on this pair before some further move to the upside. If it does actually correct, we could be looking to maybe create some sort of buy zone down here, and look to trade that if we manage to break down before moving up again. The Euro order, I've actually got a sell order in here, which I might just move up a little bit further, and be looking to short this pair. And that was based on a signal which I received, so I might just check that to see whether I even want to keep that, because fundamentally I'm not sure if that's actually a very good trade. So that's kind of what I'm watching at the moment, and it looks like now the software that I'm using is back up and running again, and so hopefully I'll be back to business as usual fairly soon. Now, to answer a couple of questions. Now, I was asked who I used to put my trades on with, and the answer to that is FXCM. Recommend them. They're very good. They provide a really, really good service. Whenever there's been problems with my trades, if one hasn't closed out when I've asked it to close out or anything like that, they've generally refunded me if I've lost. And they're just good guys to deal with, so I recommend them. The charting platforms that I use, this is FXCM's trading station, and the charting is their market scope platform, and it's really good. It's quite quick. There's probably less indicators freely available than you can get on things like MetaTrader and other charting platforms, but I just like FXCM's market scopes. It's quite clean. The webinars which I go to for these guys use this platform, and it's just nice to be able to copy their setups basically in terms of their indicators that they use and yeah, the different levels which they're showing. So this is MarketScope 2.0. I also use MetaTrader as well, and I've got a volume profile indicator and some other bits and pieces on here, market statistics and things that I use to trade. And I've also got an indicator which looks at moving averages, which I use to trade signals with, which are on here. So I use 20 different pairs that I'm looking at. So I've got the DAX, I look at the major pairs, so the Euro USD, the GB, the pound dollar, the dollar yen, Aussie dollar, the loonie, the dollar Swiss, Kiwi dollar, and then we've got some of the more popular crosses, so the Euro pound, Euro won, the Euro Swiss, Euro yen, the pound yen. I do the Aussie yen because that's quite an interesting one, but I actually don't do the Kiwi Aussie or the Aussie Kiwi. And then I've got some commodities on here as well. So I've got oil, I've got gold, and I've got some of the indices. So I've got the S&P, I've got the FTSE, and I've got the Euro stocks, which is heavily correlated to the DAX. So you can see if there's any divergence between those two. It's quite an interesting opportunity to trade. And the final thing which I do is, or I track, is the Euro or the FXCM's dollar index, which I think is quite an interesting way of looking at general strength of the dollar against other pairs and that sort of thing. So it can help to identify opportunities in gold and opportunities in the S&P as well as the major pairs. So hopefully that answers the questions. So in terms of signal which I'm providing, that should be ready next week. I'm just putting on some trades at the moment just to add some volume behind it. It's going to help me automate my trading and allow people to actually follow my trades if they want to. I'll be posting that up on the website as soon as I've got the code to embed it into the site. So I'll be looking forward to getting that done early next week. That's it for today. I'll leave it there. Good luck trading, and we'll catch up again later on.